They are rarely seen, almost never named, and when they appear in the public imagination, they are often reduced to a single label, Special Forces. But no modern high-risk operation is ever carried out by a single unit acting alone. What actually happens is far more complex, layered, and unsettling in its scale. For every operator stepping onto the ground, there is an invisible architecture of power already in motion, quietly shaping the battlefield long before the first aircraft ever leaves the runway. Understanding which U.S. military units would be required for an operation of this magnitude is not about satisfying curiosity. It is about understanding how modern power truly works. The first misconception is that elite operations are small. They are not. They only look small at the point of contact. In reality, they are among the most resource-intensive missions a military can undertake. Precision does not reduce complexity, it increases it. The more politically sensitive the objective, the more layers of redundancy, control, and specialization are required. This is why modern U.S. doctrine treats such missions as joint operations by default. Army, Navy, Air Force, intelligence agencies, cyber units, space assets, and command elements do not support the mission after it begins. They define it from the start. At the center of the visible action would be a Tier 1 ground unit, designed specifically for direct action against high-value targets. These units are built around speed, discrimination, and absolute control of chaos. They operate in teams so small that each individual is selected not only for physical capability, but for decision-making, under extreme uncertainty. Their training emphasizes close-quarters environments, rapid target identification, and immediate exploitation of intelligence on the ground. Contrary to popular belief, their primary strength is not firepower, but restraint. Their success is measured not by what is destroyed, but by how little needs to be. Yet even these units do not lead an operation in the way movies suggest. By the time they are inserted, the most decisive work has already been done elsewhere. Aviation units, intelligence analysts, cyber operators, and planners have already compressed the environment into something manageable. The ground force is the final instrument, not the opening act. This is why special missions units are often described as the tip of the spear, a phrase that hides the reality that the spear itself may be miles long. No elite ground unit operates without specialized aviation. In high-risk environments, conventional helicopter units are simply not enough. This is where special operations aviation becomes indispensable. These aviators are trained to fly into airspace that others avoid entirely, at altitudes and speeds that defy normal safety margins, often in total darkness. Their aircraft are not merely transport platforms. They are integrated systems designed to survive where detection itself can be fatal. Navigation systems, terrain-following radar, infrared suppression, and seamless integration with night vision technology allow them to place ground forces with extraordinary precision. Their pilots trained not for routine success, but for catastrophic contingencies, because they know that in these missions, there is no margin for error. Above them, controlling the vertical dimension of the battlefield, would be fast-moving air assets whose primary purpose is not destruction, but denial. Air superiority units exist to make sure that nothing unexpected enters the fight. In modern doctrine, the absence of enemy aircraft is not coincidence, it is design. Stealth fighters, early warning platforms, and electronic warfare aircraft work together to dominate airspace, suppress sensors, and control information flow. Often, they never fire a weapon. Their value lies in the options they remove from the adversary. When airspace is controlled, time belongs to the attacker. Electronic warfare units extend this control beyond the physical. Modern conflicts are fought as much in the electromagnetic spectrum as on the ground. Radars, communications, systems, and data links are all potential vulnerabilities. Specialized aircraft and ground-based teams can jam, deceive, or suppress these systems, creating windows of confusion at precisely the right moment. The effect is subtle, but profound. Units on the ground may never know why their response was delayed or why coordination failed. From the outside, it appears as hesitation. In reality, it is engineered silence. Parallel to this, cyber units operate in a domain that leaves no visible trace. Their role is not spectacle, but friction. By targeting networks, databases, and command systems, they can slow down, corrupt information, or isolate key nodes at critical moments. These actions rarely make headlines, but they often determine outcomes. A delayed order, a misrouted message, or a frozen system can be as decisive as any kinetic strike. In modern operations, cyber effects are not an alternative to physical force. They are a force multiplier. None of this would be possible without intelligence agencies operating continuously in the background. Intelligence does not begin with a target and end with a strike. It is a living process that evolves as conditions change. Human intelligence provides context that sensors cannot. Signals intelligence reveals patterns invisible to the naked eye. Satellite imagery offers persistence that ground surveillance cannot match. These streams are fused, analyzed, challenged, and reanalyzed, often by teams that never leave secure facilities. Their work shapes not only where and when an operation might occur, but whether it should occur at all. Crucially, intelligence agencies do not operate independently of military units in such missions. The boundary between intelligence and operations becomes deliberately blurred. Analysts and operators share information in near real time, adjusting assumptions as new data emerges. This integration reduces uncertainty, but it also increases dependency. A failure in intelligence can cascade rapidly, which is why redundancy is built into every layer of the process. Above all these elements sits a command structure designed to synchronize them. Operations of this sensitivity are not managed through a single chain of command, but through joint task forces that integrate multiple authorities. Military commanders, intelligence leaders, legal advisors, and political decision-makers all have roles in shaping the mission. This does not mean micromanagement. It means constraint. Every action must exist within a framework of rules, approvals, and contingencies. The more sensitive the objective, the tighter the control. One of the least understood components of such operations is logistics. Precision does not eliminate logistical demand. It intensifies it. Aircraft must be fueled, maintained, and repositioned. Medical teams must be on standby, prepared for scenarios that planners hope will never occur. Extraction plans must account for multiple outcomes, including ones that deviate dramatically from the original timeline. Every operator inserted assumes that something could go wrong, and the system behind them is designed to absorb that shock without collapsing. This is why the public rarely sees a complete picture of these missions. What is revealed is often fragmented, delayed, or deliberately vague. Silence is not an absence of activity. It is a protective measure. Naming units, confirming roles, or detailing capabilities does not serve transparency. It erodes future effectiveness. In modern doctrine, secrecy is not about hiding past actions, but about preserving future options. The paradox of elite military operations is that the more successful they are, the less visible they become. When everything works as intended, there is no spectacle to analyze, no dramatic footage to dissect. What remains are questions, speculation, and fragments of information that never quite form a complete narrative. This is not a failure of reporting. It is a feature of the system itself. Understanding which units would be required for an operation like this reveals something deeper than military organization. It exposes how modern power is exercised quietly, incrementally, and with overwhelming preparation. The visible actors are only the final expression of a process that begins far from the battlefield, in planning rooms, data centers, and command hubs, where decisions are weighed not in minutes, but in consequences. And this leads to a more uncomfortable realization. If such an operation appears fast, precise, and almost effortless, it is because of the immense machinery behind it. What looks like simplicity is the result of extraordinary complexity hidden from view. The true scale of modern operations is not measured by the number of people who appear on the ground, but by the number who make sure those few never stand alone. In the next stage of this analysis, the focus shifts away from people and toward the environment itself. Terrain, urban density, and geography do not merely shape operations. They dictate them. Cities compress time, amplify risk, and erase the margin for error. Understanding why geography matters may explain more about modern warfare than any weapon system ever could. If this breakdown helped you see military operations differently, leave a comment with a unit or capability you want analyzed next. Subscribe to continue following this series. And if this kind of deep, serious analysis adds value to your understanding of global security, a like helps ensure more of it reaches people who are asking the same questions.